Welcome back to the show. We got a great one lined up. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow us on X, YouTube, and digperspectives.com for exclusive content. Right now, $2.94 trillion market cap for crypto. The market's off 3.7%. We see Bitcoin 86,800 plus, 2,000 slightly plus for Ethereum. XRP number 4 spots 235. We're off 4.5 on the 24-hour. We're off 5.5 on the 7-day. Ranging between 246 and 234, we are at the bottom side of the range today. If this thing keeps dipping, I'll be backing that truck up. You watch. You watch what Bradley will do. Yeah, not financial advice. I'll tell you this. Get your ticket to XRP Las Vegas, ladies and gentlemen. 63 days. I'm telling you right now, Bitcoin Vegas is 3 days in front of it. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We are Friday, Saturday. The largest XRP conference in the world. 63 days away. The evolution of finance and Web3. Make the investment into yourself. Get that ticket. See Brad Garlinghouse on stage. Simon McLaughlin. President of MoonPay, Keith Grossman, and so many more. Chris Giancarlo, Dr. Chris Brummer. The list goes on and on and on. And one lucky developer builder is going to win $25,000, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you that for the best idea pitched. Oh, I'm telling you, I'm getting so excited. Don't mess around and get your ticket. This is going to be an incredible, incredible conference. Don't forget, former senatorial candidate John Deaton's going to be there and a whole bunch of lawyers on stage. You're not going to want to miss that either. Let's get started. New interactive brokers is expanding its altcoin offering to include Solana, ADA, XRP, and Doge for trading. Now, this is good news because Interactive Brokers is a global broker. So seeing them add in those assets is super exciting. We got more direction of where all of this is going. Ripple partners with Chipper Cash to enable instant cost-effective cross-border payments into Africa via crypto and Ripple Pay. But a better way to say it is, Ripple launches cross-border payment services in Africa today with the help of Chipper Cash app. That's the better way to understand this. Yet another market that Ripple is deeply seated into as we get closer and closer to what? United States getting legislation for cryptocurrency by August for everything. Stablecoin bill could be done by April. That's what we're looking at here. And now you're seeing everyone else get ready to look. What I see is a giant launch pad with everything rolling out, whether it's countries tapping into networks like we're seeing right here, or whether it's the launch of ETFs that are lining up on the launch pad. I tell you, so excited. And this is exciting too. The Senate has just passed the CRA to nullify that old IRS DeFi broker rule for the second time with a final vote of 70 to 28. You know what that means, don't you? That means with 70% of the Congress voting, which means it is a bipartisan issue. That is outstanding start for crypto legislation. There's no question about it. Let's keep that momentum going. Today at 10 a.m., we're going to see the hearing for Paul Atkins and Jonathan Gould, and Luke Pettit. We'll be watching this close. Remember, Paul Atkins has been the SEC chair previously. I don't see this being an issue at all. And he is a crypto supporter and does hold crypto, so he understands the space very well. And then Eric Trump proudly officially announces the launch of USD1. This is getting started with World Liberty Financial, Trump family company here. And I say, let the stablecoin games begin, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I say. Because Wyoming Governor Mark Gordon announces the upcoming launch of Wyoming stablecoin.
To that extent, we have a bit of an exciting announcement to make here. As of today, the Stable Token Commission has formally engaged Layer 0 as our token development and distribution partner. And we have stable tokens, Wyoming stable tokens, on several test networks already, 7 of our candidate blockchains. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. But we're incredibly excited to have support of the Layer 0 team, and we're excited to have testing underway. So with that said, Governor,
and they go on to talk about how Wyoming has been a real fertile bed for this technology, and they felt like, you know, it was just a good fit for them inside that state, talking to the governor. But again, the stablecoin race is on, ladies and gentlemen, and so is the strategic Bitcoin reserve. Yesterday was the DC Blockchain Summit, which is hosted by the Digital Chamber. By the way, let me just say, hats off to the Digital Chamber. Have you even seen this lineup? Listen, first of all, as friends to the Digital Chamber, I'm telling you, I am so happy for my friends that they put this conference together the way that they did. My goodness. And as someone who has a conference now, I certainly understand what it takes to put one together. My goodness gracious, the list of people that they had from Congress alone, let alone the industry, was just mind-blowing. So the Digital Chamber has got it on lock, ladies and gentlemen. That giant hat tip to them. I can only hope someday that we can make XRP Las Vegas as prestigious of an event as that DC Blockchain Summit was. My gracious. I watched as much as I could in between meetings yesterday online, virtually, because I wasn't able to attend. But I tell you, man, there are big, big things coming.
Remind the American public and investors why you need a Bitcoin reserve at all.
Well, good to be here. I mean, the reason why we need a Bitcoin reserve is that the federal government already owns some. In fact, it obtained around 400,000 Bitcoin over the past decade through criminal and civil forfeitures and seizures. And so the government has to have a strategy for how it deals with this. In the past, the strategy has been simply to sell it, you know, in an ad hoc way, almost willy-nilly. And that cost American taxpayers something like $17 billion in lost value. So we want to have a long-term strategy to maximize the value of these holdings. And we've decided that Bitcoin is scarce, it's valuable, and that it's strategic for the United States to hold on to this as a long-term reserve asset. So that's the plan with the 200,000 Bitcoin that we believe are in the possession of the federal government. And I say we believe because no one really knows for sure because we never had a proper audit. So that's one of the first things that this executive order provides, that we're going to do a full government-wide audit to find out what digital assets we actually have so they can be safeguarded and moved into a strategy that maximizes their long-term value.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve from the crypto AI czar. And then we see this yesterday at the Digital Chamber's DC Blockchain Summit from Senator Lummis.
Bitcoin is easy to store.
It's hard to hear. Sorry about that. The audio's low. There's not much I can do about it. But she announces, yes, that we are going to be buying the Bitcoin. That is happening. But let me move to this clip, because this is a congressman that comes in, Begich, I believe, and says the U.S. will be buying 1 million Bitcoin very soon.
The Bitcoin Act establishes the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve, a federal initiative to ensure that the United States holds a meaningful position in the most important decentralized financial network on Earth. With an eye to fiscal responsibility and innovation, the legislation outlines a plan to phase in the acquisition of up to 1 million Bitcoin, or roughly 5% of its total final supply over 5 years. Importantly, this will be done without raising taxes or increasing government debt. The Bitcoin Act is designed to be budget neutral, relying on Federal Reserve remittances, which exceeded $76 billion in 2023, gold certificate revaluations, unlocking additional capital without new spending, and updates to the Exchange Stabilization Fund. These mechanisms allow us to build a strategic reserve without burdening taxpayers, while also potentially offsetting long-term national debt. The Bitcoin Act establishes the strategic Bitcoin...
There you have it right there. That's coming. And you know why I'm showing you this today? I'm showing you this today because President Trump has just endorsed Senator Lummis for re-election. And in doing so, He has said here that she is working closely with him to make America the crypto capital of the world. So listen, all the things we understand about Bitcoin, I've come to understand for myself that this is actual evidence for me. You don't have to believe it this way, but for me, this is actual evidence that Bitcoin is going to serve as a financial band-aid for this transition to the new digital on-chain economy. That's how I personally see it. But I just want to share this because this is, this is no longer like, our own government is flying in the face of us realizing that there is no immaculate conception of Bitcoin. That is a lie, right? And yet they're going to do this anyway, which tells me, okay, well, then they need Bitcoin for this transition. That's how they're seeing it. Meanwhile, LCX Exchange has voluntarily filed a MiCA compliant white paper for XRP, and XRP has now an admission to trading at LCX Exchange. So this is big things coming over here in the EU, knowing that they're ahead of us implementing legislation. And as of today, Bitwise XRP GXRP Exchange traded product currently holds $266 million worth of XRP plus. How about that? 14.14 per share, 7.7 million plus shares outstanding. How about that? Go Matt Hogan. And you know what? Bitwise and Matt Hogan will be on stage this year at XRP Las Vegas, and you're not going to want to miss that conversation, I can tell you that. But think of it. And we have Bitwise already where they are right now, 266 million with the ETF, and nothing's taken off yet. That's where they're at. Are you kidding me right now? Now we got to add in when BlackRock XRP ETF, right? Everybody else is on the list. When BlackRock, then imagine all of these hoses, these 19 hoses, once BlackRock's in here, like giant vacuum cleaners, just vacuuming up all the loose liquidity on the exchanges. How long is that going to take? How long is it going to take? It's not going to take very long. And then remember, understand that Chris Marzalek, with a great zeal and passion from crypto.com, described 8 billion of inflows moving in. Listen to the enthusiasm jumping off the camera here.
Next couple of years, I think altcoins that have strong flows will outperform. I don't know if you guys seen this, but there's a forecast saying that the ETF for XRP is going to attract 8 billion of inflows next year.
And God bless him, you could tell he's fighting back the excitement. Nonetheless, Zach Rector broke it down as well as anybody I've ever heard about the market cap myth. XRP is a commodity, and when things are a commodity, you can't just use simple, recent price versus, circulating supply. You have to understand the power of inflows. And as we discussed yesterday, it only takes 8 billion of inflows to push the price of XRP to $33 and to push the market cap to 1.7 trillion, because that's the power and the magnetized effect of inflows moving into XRP or a commodity in general. So that is something to note, right? So keep that in mind as we move forward, because we're talking about 19 ETFs to come. That's the exciting part. And all of this is happening, and the stage is being set. The Launchpad is rolling out, okay? And I have something fun today in the Freedom Zone. It's absolutely fun, and it's self-deprecating for me, by the way, too. And I think every one of you that follow anyone as an influencer are going to appreciate what I'm going to show you in the Freedom Zone, and it is hilarious, I find. But nonetheless, the case for Ripple is over, and there's nothing hilarious about that. And as it turns out, the SEC is giving $75 million of the original judgment back to Ripple. It's the only way to hear it. Ripple has won in every regard. I do believe that the case was a legal dog leash, that is, the SEC versus Ripple case is ended. And this has always been an audit and vetting process as much as a lawsuit. And it can only mean one thing at my house. It's time, ladies and gentlemen. And I believe that. And Wrath of Comment said, so help me out, as he's digesting this decision. I want to get this right. Ripple's general counsel, Stu, said the SEC will ask the court to lift the standard injunction. Well, what did the injunction prohibit? only breaking the law? If so, isn't it redundant? Like, why would you put an injunction in place when there's already a law supposedly in place? That would be redundant. He's right about that. And why would it need to be lifted? What is it? Was it a factor in changing on-demand liquidity schema? Is it only a PR issue? And then there's the court document. This is how I feel about this, and I really do. I've suggested that the institutional decision was like a placeholder ruling. It forces both sides to come to the table to get something they both want. Remember, it wasn't that they broke a rule. The SEC asked the judge to put that injunction in place to put leverage on Ripple to want to negotiate to force a deal. This is why it's a pay-to-play system, I believe. It's also an easy decision to lift by the judge because it is nothing more than selling to a wholesaler. There's nothing wrong with these sales. It just forced Ripple to know that you can't sell to institutions until you sit down with the SEC and figure out a number. This is yet another reason why I believe this lawsuit was just as much an audit and vetting process before allowing Ripple and XRP to become a part of our financial system. Lock in. And I think now we're at that place over the next 5 to 6 months. We're going to see the legislation put through, and soon thereafter, or maybe even sometime during, we're going to find out just how deeply involved Ripple and XRP are with the U.S. market infrastructure of the new digital on-chain economy, as well as others. Chainlink. I believe that's going to play a major role too. XLM, we're going to see major players. It's a multi-chain world out here, but I'm super excited to find out Ripple and XRP's role as we get legislation. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. It's just my digital perspectives. I will catch all of you in the Freedom Zone. It's a short, fun one today, but boy, are you going to love it. And you're going to find out just how self-deprecating I am as a person. I don't mind being the joke at times. You're going to find out right now. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. Come on in. All right.